Welcome back to today's design session. Guys, I am very excited because right now we're starting a whole new process, okay? In fact, speaking of process, it's about the process of design. So far on the design sessions, we have uploaded 28 tools. A tool is something you put in your tool bucket. It's what makes it possible for you to build your house from a design perspective. We have 28 tools. If you're newer to the design sessions, you probably have some catching up to do. So we've tried to make this easy. Now, besides the tool sessions, we also have outdoor sessions. We have about, I think, 5 or 6 of those. And then we have 18 Christmas design sessions. So we're separating them now and we're gonna number them for you so it's easier for you to find, to reference. I encourage you to go back and purchase some of those sessions that you've missed because all of this will make so much more sense going forward. So today we are gonna take the first room, the great room of, are you ready? Drum roll please. The Beach House Project. Today is such a big day for me. The day has finally come. I've been working on this for a long time. This is what we refer to as the beach house. Why? And why do I have sunglasses on? Well, because of that. Clearly, this is an absolutely amazing location, right on the sand. So join me as I show you the before pictures and then what I did to make it absolutely magical. Gosh, where do I even start in this place? We essentially pretty much gutted it and started all over. It's very obvious to me what the challenges are. Now this particular house, I think you could tell by looking at it, it was so dark. Very little artificial light actually was added. There was a fan that had one light in the center and some small rinky-dink sort of little sconces. That is just not enough light. Add to that the color palette, which was like I call it brick red and gold, and the walls had all that gold sponge faux finish look on it. It was kind of like a mix between Tommy Bahama meets Tuscan wannabe. I mean, it definitely was dark. And so that was one of the first things that I knew I wanted to deal with and get rid of. And then the next thing was, did you see the window heights? My gosh, it was such a low window with that high vaulted ceiling, which I thought was awesome. That was like one of the best features of the room. Those windows were dropped so low, but the clients could not change anything that would affect the exterior of the house. You know what interior design actually is? It's really problem solving. Now I want to show you the SketchUp model that I use to do all of my design work in. And I'm going to show you the flooring, the floor plan layout of this great room before and show you what I decided to do after. So this is how I begin. I start with the base model. The reason I'm showing you this is I want you to see the process. Do I go in there and immediately know exactly what I'm gonna do? No, I have to play around with it. This is actually really the fun part because I get to play around with the furniture pieces. What about this area? Am I creating the symmetry? Am I fixing the problems? And then I look at all the different options for built-ins. Is this a little lopsided or not? Well, that's what I'm working with. Instead of L-shaped sofas, what if I did partially curved sofas? A couple of chairs over here for the bar area. They wanted to seat 18 if they possibly could, and I figured this could potentially do that, and I could put a serving cart back here. I am not looking at actual furniture pieces when I'm doing the furniture layout. All I'm doing is doing placeholders based on size, accessibility in the room, your walkways. Keep in mind that you want to have enough space to walk around, and usually if it's a main thoroughfare, you need about 36 inches. You can see here from this entry of the door, that sofa shows up pretty early in this process. So you gotta have at least room for that door open and people to walk by. You need at least 36 inches for the opening here between these two sofas because it's very comfortable. So the bottom line was it took several rounds to get to this point where I was happy with the furniture placement. Now I knew I needed to address some of the other problems and solve them. There wasn't much room here. I needed to keep in mind, and you will always need to keep in mind, the flow of traffic. So how do people get in the door? How do they walk around here? Is there enough room down here for this table and chairs? The next thing I wanted to address was storage. So I'll turn on the built-in layer and you can see what I did. Okay, I looked in all the stuff in their kitchen. Their kitchen is so small. Not enough cabinets, but there was a lot of bar stuff in there. And I thought, well, if I could take the bar stuff out of the kitchen and put it in here, I can make use of this space. So look, we've used this space vertically. We now have space to use horizontally, and we got drawers. Look, inside here, these are wine glasses. Another drawer with, oh my gosh, plastic stemless glasses. You could drop these. Trust me, I'm gonna wash this right now. I'll just stick it in here. Okay, another thing that used to be in this house was storage for placemats and some candles, some entertaining things, right? You do that when you're at the beach. And I needed to find room for that. So I created these built-ins here. Take a look in these drawers. This one has vases for plants and flowers, and also tablecloths, because our client likes to entertain not only in here, but out on the beach. Below that, just about every size and kind of candle you can think of. Over here, I had 2 more drawers, and I put in here all kinds of napkins, placemats. Look at these. Won't these look so cute on the table with all my wicker and my rush looking stuff? I even have a mud cloth table runner that'll go down, and this goes so perfectly with the pillows that I used in the living room. And then below that, these are more napkins, more votive candle holders, and then look at this. How cute is that? It's a succulent napkin ring. Oh, so cute. So everything our client could possibly need to set a beautiful table and entertain are located in these drawers. Not in the kitchen, they're here. What is not here, you'll notice, is the dishes. Why? I mean, you're gonna set the table with dishes, right? Yeah, but you're not gonna wanna go to the kitchen to put them in the dishwasher and then back over here to put them away. So they are stored in the kitchen. Once you have your furniture in place, now you know where your lighting plan should be. What if I decided I wanted to add some, not just ceiling lights, which is very hard to do in this location. You cannot put lights in a ceiling when there is no attic space above it. If we'd have broken into this ceiling, we'd have been looking at the sky. So here's my floor plan with my furniture. I always want to have lighting where people are sitting. Now you might think that you'd put it back here near where you're sitting here. You always want your light to land right about at their knees. So this is where I chose to put directional lights. Mine are suspended on cables. That's how I get the lights exactly where I want them. I always do a light on every window treatment. So I can go around the room, and lighting up your window treatments is something that I made up a long time ago. I don't know anyone else who does it, but I tell you what, you spend all that money on that beautiful fabric, why not see it, for crying out loud? I also added 2 lamps. 2 floor lamps right here, just to give some middle of, we like to light in layers. But if you look closely here, you'll see that each one of these shelves is lit underneath, which makes everything on the shelves look absolutely phenomenal. So they came up with this design in my SketchUp program, and I think this turned out so great. And you'll want to identify your fixtures for your electrician so that he knows where to put those holes. Just so you know, that guy right there is Steve. He's our electrician. Grumpiest man alive. Just saying.
Yep. That's me.
That is him. And the weirdest thing is he's super proud of it. And then the last thing was I added a custom chandelier over this amazing dining table. It needed to drop. Now the ceiling is like this, right? So usually a chandelier comes from something. This had to be hung at different heights of cables. The installation for this light fixture alone was a big deal. But I also wanted it to act as art. You'll notice that in this room, I don't even have places for art. There are no walls to put art on. So this light fixture is doing two things. It's lighting up the table. It's creating an architectural piece that, and if you watch the other sessions on lighting, we talk about how light fixtures can actually be a sculpture. They can be a piece of art. That's what this one is. If you stood down there at the end of the hallway, you would see this phenomenal chandelier. This is a custom piece that I designed and we had made back in Vermont and shipped out here, and I'm telling you what, this is a showstopper. I absolutely love it. And it just does the job perfectly, but it drops just low enough that it's kind of filling up this whole wall ceiling space, but it's not dropping into the window, which I knew that the clients would not approve of because that's the multi-million-dollar view. Now you understand the reason I do my lighting after my furniture has been decided on, not the pieces, but the locations and the sizes, is so that I know that everything I light up has a purpose, a plan, and it's gonna land in the exact right location. So when I look at this, I took out all the built-ins that were already existing in this place, but you can see that skinny fireplace. I would like to be able to keep this existing fireplace if we can. The brick.
That exact stone, just leave it and paint it?
Yes, except it's got to continue on up. I took that fireplace straight up. Remember, it kind of goes in here. So I brought it all the way up. Pretty much gave myself some space to add this addition to the left and the right, and that's actually almost 3 feet that I've added to each side.
Green is my favorite color.
We added more brick to fill in the odd shapes, and we added a whole piece over here. It's like 18 inches on either side. What does that do for a space? Well, it makes it look like a bigger, wider fireplace. So this fireplace mantle was the client's original, but it had a lot of orange in it. So we're doing sort of a whitewash stain on it. In tool 17 and tool 19, you'll learn about the concept of flow. And I applied flow in this house. You've seen how I like to repeat a texture. So over here on this wall, going into the kitchen, I decided, why don't we do that wall in brick as well? So now the brick on the fireplace comes over to the brick on this wall, and we painted it white. And then on these walls, I wanted to do shiplap. This isn't any ordinary shiplap, let me just tell you. This is multi-random planks at different heights. So again, using the SketchUp model, I took these and I made these into the pieces that were 8-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch. It's so random. There is no pattern that's repeatable. And so I created this for Oscar, and as you can see this, it goes all the way across the wall from top to bottom so that he would know exactly the heights to do. If you don't have a SketchUp model, just write it on a piece of paper. But here's why I tell you to do this. Number one, you may have a guy who says, oh, I'll do that. You don't need to give me the drawing. I hope you like what he comes up with. If you're specific like I am, you're gonna wanna draw that out for him so that he has the measurements. This is also the point at which I decided what kind of baseboard I wanted to use in the house. We used 8-inch baseboards, and what I was gonna do to the ceiling. So now we're talking walls, ceiling, and we're gonna get to floors in a minute, but pay attention. This is all about the process, the order you do things in. So much of doing the perfect any room is all the preparation and the design work in advance before you yourself go shopping for any furniture. Once I've decided on my walls and the kind of texture I want, the next thing I do is I pick out my flooring. The only flooring I used in this particular room, because we're only doing one room right now, is the hardwood floor. But just so you know, in terms of planning, if you're doing a whole house remodel, I knew that I was gonna have wet related rooms, meaning bathrooms, laundry room, things like that. So I picked out tile at the same time that I picked out my wood floor. Now, as I look at this room, I'm liking where I'm going with this, but you know what? I decided that with these built-ins here on either side of the window by the dining room, do you see how these built-ins here are so tall? And then it goes wah, 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 right? It just sort of like gets hokey looking. So I went in and I added my window treatments. This is the entry door, which we could not change anything on the exterior, so we had to stay with the short door. But you know what I did? That thing I love to do where I make my windows seem higher so I can put my window treatments up higher. Most people would do their window treatments like that. Well, that's an incredible wow, isn't it? It's not. So I'm going to turn the ceilings on so you can see what it looks like with that in here too. Okay, now you can see while I was working on the flow, I painted those wood beams white and the ceiling white, okay? But look how dopey those window treatments look. You never put window treatments on your windows, you put them on your walls, right, guys? How many times have we talked about that? That principle is taught very strongly in T6. So I've got them up there, but is that a problem? Yeah, kind of. Why? What do you see as a problem here? I'll tell you what the problem is. All of that space up there is just funky. It's weird space. So I did that thing that I like to do where I added the transoms, which is wood paneling, painted wood paneling. But look here, this is how I make those windows seem higher. This is a transom. You've seen me do this in other projects. Take a look at the one we did in Del Mar. In that dining room and in that living room, we raised up those lower windows, at least in your mind, and it worked. That wood paneling gives the reason and the permission for your window treatments to be so high without all that stuff up there just sort of being an empty cavernous cave. You could also do a valance, and on the window treatment episode, we teach you all about valances and screens like woven woods and things like that. But in a case like this, where it was so much white, painted white, I really thought that the larger casements and the transoms were what's going to make a great difference. There was actually more of a purpose to it, even more than that. And you know what it is? When I get my glasses, I'll be able to show you because I left them over here. So this was my drawing that I did for the main window. It's actually 10 feet wide and it's 30 inches tall. What's interesting about it is the depth of it is 6 inches deep. And the reason for that is up underneath inside of this transom hides all of the roller shades. Provides privacy, but still allows the homeowner to see through kind of dimly, but you still have a view of what's out there. And look, it tucks up behind this little cover here. When this is up, you would never even know that it's here. We've already got some of the window treatments already installed. And look at these. Look at this. I actually designed custom rods and I wanted them to be super industrial looking. I actually used the same kind of conduit piping on a lot of things. I used them on the shelves at the other side over by the dining room by that gorgeous window. These rods are the same thing. They have that elbow, kind of the conduit pipe, and then when it comes over here to the transom box, look, it mounts right flat. But now I've got window treatments and the transoms. Now the whole thing feels complete, doesn't it? So when you're pulling your finishes together, you need to see them all at the same time. I have this big table that I lay everything out and I use it together. This was the wood finish that I used on the shelves that are in the bar area as well as the opposite end of the dining room. If you look closely, these shelves are kind of, I would call it undulated, where it's sort of like if you felt it, it has a bumpy, almost a live edge look. And then the base of the cabinet needed to be something that looked as close to that as possible. So I selected this. Again, I didn't want it to look just like the floor, but I wanted it to go with the floor. Guess what? We've included a cutting board in here so that you can cut limes and lemons and make yourself a margarita if you want to. How cool. And you know what you're gonna need if you are gonna have a margarita? You're gonna need an outlet. Well, looky here. You're gonna need a blender. We have an outlet that we added to the top of the countertop so you can plug in a blender. There's also one right over here. You wondering what this is? This is the coolest thing. This is an Aura frame. I have one of these and I love it. It plays a slideshow of your own photos that you choose to put on there all day long. It's amazing. Once I picked out my tabletop, this was the wood. It's actually a very, very rustic wood, but see how the colors are coming together? And this actually has a live edge to it. And this is a fabulous wine fridge that allows you to have both white wine and red wine. You can change the temperatures. This is colder, this is a little warmer. This is where we keep the red wine. And white will go up here. Right now we only have one bottle of white, but look at this. Canned, have you guys seen this? This Babe canned. I should be getting money for all these people I'm sponsoring in this video, right? Because I'm not sponsored, I'm just saying it. This is Babe Rosé. It's such good wine in a can. So you could actually take it out on the beach because we have laws here in California about glass being on the beach. And then I needed to pick out a wood that was gonna go on the console piece, which is behind the sofa opposite of the dining room table. I cannot walk past this table without mentioning it to you. This is a full-on piece of wood. I literally picked out the piece of wood by itself. It's solid walnut, and they bleached it and made it this color for us. And look at the legs. The legs are acrylic. Looks like it's floating. Great place to hang out, put a glass of wine, even store, put your serving things here. Then it came time to pick out a stone top to fit on the two built-ins. I picked this particular marble, and it is in the Azero Care, which is an amazing material, so I know it's not gonna stain. Then I picked out my chairs for the dining table. Now this is where I kind of went a little bit rogue. I chose to go with this chair in this ebony black finish, but here's what I did to change it because this looks super black to me. So I changed the leg finish and these spindle finishes to this stainless steel look. So it was silver, and that kind of added a lighter, brighter look to this project. So now that I have all of my wood finishes and metals defined, what about my fabrics? So I needed to find a fabric for the sofa. And remember, this had to be super hardy. So I found this, it's by Perennials. You might ask yourself, Rebecca, why in the world did you specify off-white fabric on those sofas? I'll tell you why. These sofas are made with this new fabric, a new technology. It's called Perennials fabric. And here's what you do. You can actually pour red wine or anything, but red wine, you know how bad that is, on these sofas. And then you can take a bottle of spray bleach and bleach them down. It won't change the texture or the look of the fabric. It'll just clean it for you. That right there, that is Hardie. And by the way, this is outdoor fabric. Amazing. See this? This is actually the sofa fabric in the living room. And I told you that it's the perennials fabric and it can be bleached. So, gosh, I hope. Right, I'm gonna stick another piece underneath of it just because I'm thinking the epoxy floor is fine, but wouldn't it be funny if epoxy is more porous than a sofa fabric? So this is what we had. Here's our wine we poured earlier. Now, what's cool about it is, look, it takes a while even to soak in. It just beads up on it for starters. I let that soak in there for a while. Now I'm gonna go over it again and just blot it. Look at, that's been like a good minute. Man, this is incredible. Let me show you what happens. I hope I don't ruin my jeans here. I can literally spray bleach on that. This is Clorox bleach. And it takes it right out. Here's the metal that's going on this coffee table. Super wire brush so you can't hurt it. My goal in this house was to keep the coziness and keep the, I guess, hardiness is what I'd say, where the clients could feel like they could walk in with sandy feet, throw themselves on the sofa and not worry about keeping things neat and clean. I also needed to have the ottomans needed to be upholstered in something, and this is a very hardy leather that can take quite a beating.
What makes me feel it?
Underneath, these amazing oval-shaped ottomans. Now these can be used for additional seating. You can put them anywhere you want, but I like them because when I watch TV, I like to put my feet up. How about you?
Oh, I loved you too long.
Along with this trim along the bottom. Do you see how that all connects?
Keep holding you in.
Well, guess what the next thing to do is? Paint! Da 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 da! The thing you've all been waiting for, and most of you do first when you decorate. I hope that subtly you picked up a very important tip here. What's that tip, Becky? Pick your paint almost last. Why? Because once you have these other things selected, now you know what color of paint you want. Otherwise, you might be tempted to go, there's so many off-whites and creams and tans, I just don't know which one to go with. And that's exactly what you would do, and you'd end up with a different color that maybe you would or you wouldn't like in the end.
Keep holding you in.
At this stage of the game, while I'm doing all my shopping, as you can see, I've pulled my materials together. It's a really lighter color palette with these contrasting black and gray pieces. I just think it looked amazing. You can tell by the photos and the video. But also, at this point, I have 3 things left to do. One, at this point, now I need to look at rugs, area rugs. Not just the size. I already know the size I need because I figured that out on my SketchUp, but now I need to know the texture and the color. So you can either start with your rugs or you can start with your pillows. In this case, I actually found some great rugs, and you're gonna see something interesting here. And this is something that no one on YouTube will ever know about at all because they're only gonna see the finished footage. Do you notice 2 different things here? 2 different rugs.
I'm still in this.
I bought 2 rugs. I did. I bought one that they could use mostly during the winter months, has a little warmer look to it, and then the ones that they could use in the summer months. So the one that we installed that you see in this footage right now is the one that I consider the summer.
I keep asking myself for what.
Every 6 months, we're gonna make sure that the existing rug that's in the house, by now probably full of sand, is gonna be picked up. And at the time it's picked up, the new one is going to be ushered in, put into place, and the pillows are gonna rotate. Why did I do that? Well, it's kind of fun to do that for one thing, but the other reason is, like I said, I want the clients to live in this beach house like it is a go for it party house and don't worry about anything getting dirty or stained. By doing it this way, we can actually take the existing pillows out, take them cases off of the pillows, have them dry cleaned, have the rug cleaned, and then 6 months later, they will rotate out again.
You keep blowing me out, I keep holding you in.
My black and white mud cloth that matches my pillows over here, goes great with my chairs. Then I have this wicker here. The wicker ties in with all that color on my built-ins with my Rush pillows on the sofa. Do you see how this is all going together? Somebody thought long and hard about all of these decisions. The other thing I wanted was a dining room table that would be large enough to seat as many people as possible, take advantage of that spectacular view, but look at the legs. They're acrylic. It looks as though this table is floating. You always want to make sure that the furniture you order is going to fit in your door.
We have a few pieces of furniture that are a little bit too big to make it up through the stairwell. So we're gonna lay some plywood down on the beach and just wheel the big ticket items around.
I almost blew it on this one. For the dining table and the arched sofas to get into the house. I measured the door. I knew it was going to fit. What I didn't measure was the walkway on the sides of the house that are super tiny. I totally forgot about that when I was ordering this stuff. There's no way they could have gotten that furniture up the sides of the house. At Ropes and Design, we do whatever it takes. Back. Stop. Stop. Down. I'm going to show you how I actually created symmetry on every single wall. Symmetry is what makes things feel good. Now, there used to be a dining room table over here that sat 6 or 8, maybe 6. Now we have one over here that's longer, more beautiful, more sleek. It's in this area, and you know what? It's perfect because that is the ocean right there. That's what you want to look at while you're having a beautiful lunch or a gorgeous dinner. I'm going to lower the west shade. All of our shades in this house are electronic, which makes life so much easier. Look at that. One little button and down it goes. We also have a blackout shade, which is awesome. To create symmetry on this wall, it starts with the dining room table dead center. Chairs all the way around, and then on either side, the exact same kind of built-in.
Cause you and I, oh yeah, we could fly so high, so high.
So on either side, you've got that window treatments that go on either side of that. You get the idea? Symmetry means there's something in the middle and it then mirrors each other on either side. Love how this turned out. What's so cool about it is that it not only stores beautiful accessories, but also it stores all the things that you would need for entertaining. I just very carefully did my accessorizing in a way that was going to enhance the space, create a sense of symmetry and balance, but not like overcome you with so much stuff. Now, look at these. These are so incredible. These are actually games because the clients love to play games, board games, put together puzzles and things like that. Look, this is Scrabble, an actual Scrabble game, and it has all the pieces, the scorecards, even look, the little things you put your letters on. Now, I personally am not good at Scrabble. I'm good at many things. Spelling is not one of them. Shara just put dibs. So I'm gonna do something fancy. I'm gonna say rib.
Doesn't the I and the A have to make something?
Yes. And I'm gonna put Ace and Ike. Oh, Eichel. Add those points up, baby. I'd say my color scheme in this room is black and white. Pretty much black and white with a touch of rush or wicker. I have black and silver chairs here that are amazing. And then on the end, the captain's chairs, his and hers, I've got these wicker chairs that are so fun, very beachy. It takes what's really kind of fancy and retro looking, and it just kind of calms it down. It makes it more casual to have this. Also, the wood is all of this driftwood looking color. Now, we had a urethane finish put on the top of it so that it is bulletproof. I mean, they can literally, they could use it as a slip and slide if they wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, but they could. Look at this. I found this huge leather duffel. Whoop. Whoop. It's very heavy. And right in here, it is full of all kinds of other games and puzzles. And we didn't have to use a drawer for it. We were able to just put it in here, and it looks cool, and it is easy to get to. And then, of course, if you hit your lampshade, you should probably straighten that out. So let's talk about the symmetry on this wall. Do you see what I see? Your eye walks in the door, you have a pair of arch sofas, a bullet point right here, door, table, fireplace with television. But then beyond that, let's talk symmetry some more. We've got a pair of matching lamps, a pair of window treatments that match, 2 trios of little fig leaf trees and aloe trees, baskets for blankets, and then right against the wall, we have the built-ins, where we bring in that driftwood looking wood, as well as the dark black and silver piping. Total symmetry. So this side of the room is actually the traffic area. It's where you enter in the front door, you walk around to the kitchen, you walk around to the dining room. But if you'll take a look, we've got the shiplap on either side, total symmetry from the door, then a pair of windows and window treatments on either side of that. And then as you get to the end, you've got a built-in over here and you've got a bar over here, incorporating the same stone and the same wood in both pieces. Perfect symmetry. Now, the one wall that has the least amount of symmetry, but I still feel like I've accomplished almost that look, is this one. There's a hallway in the center. On one side is a bar, and the other side leads us into the kitchen. Although they are not the same, what is the same is this stone that we used on the countertop or the bar here is the same as this. The waterfall edge is the same. I took advantage of my vertical space. That's really important. When you don't have a lot of space, you have a small space, you want to put as many things on the wall as you possibly can and keep it as close to the wall as you can so you don't impede on your footprint. And look, here's where I brought that rush color in again, right in the middle on the coffee table. So cool. Love this piece of coral. And then there's this. You know what this is? It's a speaker. I hate speakers. You have to have them or you can't hear anything, the television or whatever. But I hate the look of them. We painted these out white, but because of all the little tiny holes in here, it doesn't still look white. So I had my faux finish artist, Nicole, come along and actually add a very soft, subtle line across here where the shiplap crosses, just to sort of make them blend in as much as possible. I'll tell you what I do like. I love the fact that this house is now a smart home. A smart home means you have this command center, and actually they're in every room. In fact, speakers are in every room. And not only the sound, you can also adjust all the lights. Look at this. It's 73 degrees. It's hotter inside than outside. 74% humidity. Yeah, that explains my hair, I suppose. People think when they're going to do a beach house, let's say for example, that they're going to do it beachy. Actually, the before photos show a lot of palm fronds, the fabrics on the bedding, and in the living room on the window treatments, all that stuff. Everything was very themey. Even as I recall, the toilet paper holder was like little seahorses that had toilet paper running between them. Very themey. That's not how I do a beach house, okay? A beach house to me, that right there is the beach. What more theme do you need? So where did these go? I gotta put them away. Oh, and I forgot to show you something too. I think this is there's so much to share, goodness. I've been working on this for like a year, so I have a lot to say. Do you know what these are? I bought my clients some Zeiss binoculars. You know what those are? Super cool, super small, very high-end binoculars. Why? I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe there'll be a shark out there someday, or God forbid, or I don't know, a really cute guy, or I don't know, a friend you wanna, or you could check on your kids to see what they're doing way down on the beach. That's a good idea. That was just one of 7 or 8 videos on the beach house for the design sessions that we're gonna do. Did you get the process from start to finish, how it all works out? I hope so. That was a big point of this, because up until now, I've just been giving you so many tools. But the question is, okay, we got all these tools, how do we put it together? Where do we start? Where do we go? Where do we end? I can tell you so many people start with paint. And as you can see from today, that is not where we start. It was a great project, so much fun. And for me, just to go through all of this with you today, I've kind of relived the magic of it myself. I have to say, I love what I do. I'm very, very, very fortunate. All right, next time, I think we're gonna tackle the kitchen. How to design the perfect kitchen, and of course we'll be using the beach house to show you how. So that should be really fun. It's a topic that we've never done, all kitchen, okay? So it's gonna be great. We're gonna have one on how to do the perfect bedrooms, how to do the perfect bathrooms. There's 3 bathrooms in this house, 5 bedrooms in this house. So there's a ton of stuff that I'm gonna be able to show you. We're even gonna do laundry rooms. So basically room by room. And it's all gonna be at the beach house. And if we can fit a few other things in, we might do that too, because you know, I've done a lot of projects in my day. And if I can help you guys in any way, I wanna do just that. Remember to check out your PDF for the notes and any notes you wrote, but also all the additional design sessions labeled by tool. Remember T1 through 28, I believe. Today you'll have 17 that really are applicable to what you've learned. All right, you guys, I look forward to seeing you next time. Please come back and join me again for more exclusive videos and a deep dig walkthrough of the beach house. Love you. Bye.